from Rauch for several years. I'd like to welcome Suellen to the podium.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for being here. I am gratified by this enormous crowd, and we appreciate you so much. Thank you, Jason, for the introduction. My husband, Ed, and I always enjoy coming to this event because it is a celebratory atmosphere. The ambiance is wonderful, and our hearts are uplifted by the personal stories of all of the award recipients. I'm particularly honored this evening to share my Rauch story and to give testament to my dearest friend Betty Dunham and her incredibly gifted but woefully underpaid staff who work tirelessly to bring dignity and value to the lives of people with disabilities and their families. My relationship with Rauch began over 20 years ago. I'm a former member of the board and president of the board of directors, and we are donors and contributors to the ongoing work of this outstanding agency based upon a personal experience. I'd like you to meet my youngest son, Todd. Everybody can say, "Aww." A lovely and loving and happy child as he grew up in a rural community in south central Wisconsin. As you can see from the photos, he had a typical childhood, doing what kids do, enjoying school sports, playing with family and friends. As a single working mom, my boys would travel with me often throughout my career in government and political activity. We had lots of great adventures together, and as you'll see, we have met lots of famous and some infamous politicians in our time. After my sons finished high school, Ed Wilkinson and I were married in 1989, and we relocated to southern Indiana from Wisconsin and Illinois. A number of our children found their way here with us, including my son Todd. We had not seen him for nearly a year as he was living and working with his father in Tucson, Arizona right after his high school graduation. He was 19 at the time, and since he hadn't developed a real plan for his future, not unlike many children of today, he thought the opportunity to come here and be with us and work with Ed at his company was appealing. A few months thereafter, we became aware of some subtle changes in his behavior and personality, such as forgetting rather routine tasks, losing track of work tools, stumbling easily, and not being engaging and conversational as he once was. Something was definitely wrong. During a physical exam, the physician performed a very simple test to check his balance. Then she referred us for further neurological evaluation. Those x-rays and MRIs revealed that he had experienced head trauma at some point in his life, and over time, brain fluid was pooling instead of circulating as it normally would. The only treatment was surgery to implant a shunt and relieve the pressure. Needless to say, I was stunned. Brain surgery was the least thing I expected to hear. How could this happen and I not know about it? I'm his mom, and as we moms know, we always know everything, right? The neurologist explained that it wasn't necessarily one major incident, but could have been a series of blows to the head over time. On further reflection, I did recall a few incidents that may have been contributing factors, like the time he got into an altercation with a high school classmate and received a, quote, slight concussion from hitting his head on the floor at a terrazzo floor at high school. He did play football, junior and senior high, but I believed wearing a helmet offered protection. There was also the time he'd been hit in the head while helping his dad trim trees, and there may have been other events that I knew about and perhaps some that I didn't know about, because sometimes people said, "Don't tell Mom." So I definitely knew nothing about brain injury and assumed that once the surgery was complete, he would be back to his old self and life would go on. Not by a long shot. While he was deemed medically stable, the damage was done and could not be reversed. Thus began my own bout with emotional stress and guilt and heartache. What did that mean for him and his future? How and where would he live? What would his life be like? Would he be safe or vulnerable? I can only empathize with the many families today who are experiencing these same questions, given the dramatic increase in traumatic brain injury suffered by our soldiers and professional athletes. The effects of those injuries may not be apparent for years to come, and the cost of treatment, ongoing care, and the impact on our families is enormous. Because we were faced with lots of life-changing decisions both for our son Todd and our family, I had no idea where to begin for help and support. And a friend suggested that I contact the local developmental disabilities agency, Rauch Industries. It didn't take me long to know this was the answer to my prayers, a place where my adult child would be safe, respected, and treated with kindness and caring, and given a chance to be all that he could be or chose to be. Thankfully, his life skills remained intact and he could live on his own and take care of his personal needs with a little help from the mom, of course. He still had a very strong work ethic, and despite some physical limitations, but overall we were blessed that he was able to be fairly independent. The staff at Rauch was fully engaged in helping him. There was lots of paperwork, evaluations, research to determine what works for him or what would work for him, and life situations that would be most suitable. He spent a few years working at Rauch Industries workshop, and with that additional help and training, he was prepared to join the regular workforce full-time with benefits at Hitachi Cable, making brake hoses for Toyota. I must note here that Hitachi is a gold sponsor of this evening's event and has been a friend for many years, and God bless you, Hitachi Cable. We were thrilled when Todd was honored as Supported Employee of the Year in 1996, and he remained with Hitachi for 5.5 years until other physical and mental health issues conspired against him to make outside employment impossible. Todd has since moved back to Wisconsin to be near his brother and father, lots of other family, and his Green Bay Packers. He's doing reasonably well, living in his own apartment with the assistance of a caregiver, and he works part-time at the vocational rehab agency in his new hometown. We do see him a couple times a year when we travel north for visits, and I have no doubt that if he were still here, he would welcome the opportunity to live in one of the beautiful new homes that Rauch has built on Betty Dunham Drive in Charlestown, Indiana. As mentioned previously, my partnership with Rauch continues to this day, and we are contributors to an organization that's truly a community treasure and deserves community support for the extraordinary work that it does on behalf of people with disabilities and their families. I'm so gratified by the great crowd here tonight, and I know you've purchased raffle tickets and bid on silent auction and live auction items, but I have one final request. I strongly urge you to make a personal contribution to Rauch. There's an envelope on the table. Take it home with you, and when you've had time to recall the highlights of tonight's program, the awards presented to these special people and honorees, and the unimaginable performance that you're going to hear later by musician Mark Goffney, perhaps you would be moved to action and send your gift at the earliest opportunity, because in a heartbeat, just like me, you may unexpectedly find yourself in need of the wide range of services provided by Rauch. I thank the Lord they were available for me when I needed them most. I thank my fabulous husband, Ed, and our family for their enduring love and strength. And I thank you for your generosity and for allowing me this opportunity to share my story. Thank you.
Let's give another round of applause to Suellen Wilkinson for that testimonial.